Hello, dear colleagues. Welcome back. Today, we'll talk about an amazing man, Nelson Mandela. He was known as the father of South Africa and a symbol of freedom. He changed the history of the world. There are many interesting facts about Mandela. He was a waiter, boxer, smuggler, guerrilla fighter, and a prisoner. He was hated by millions, but also loved by millions. And he spent 27 years in prison, which is a lot of time. Now let us watch the video about his childhood and youth and find out more interesting facts about his life. Once upon a time, in a faraway land at the tip of Africa, there was a little boy who loved running through the fields, playing stick fights and listening to stories from elders under the warm sun. That boy's name was Nelson Raleigh-Lala Mandela. But little did he know he was going to change the history of the world. The boy from the village. Nelson was born in 1918 in a small village called Mvezo. It was far from cities, cars, and phones. He herded sheep, wore traditional clothes, and learned about honor and courage from his tribe, the Thembu. Life seemed simple and good. His father told him, "A real leader serves his people." Those words would stay in his heart forever. But when Nelson was 9, his father died. His mother raised him, and she taught him about hard work. They moved to another village, and Nelson attended a local school. It was a mission school run by Christian pastors. These pastors cared about teaching kids and believed education was important. However, there were 2 schools in town. One was for white kids, the other was for black kids. There was no equality. White kids had better teachers and better buildings. Sometimes Nelson wanted to play with white children, but he wasn't allowed. Nelson felt upset and asked, "Why?" The pastors said it was because of the color of his skin. "What does it mean to be black?" Nelson asked. But the pastors didn't want to talk about it. One day, Nelson saw something strange in the nearby town. There were schools, buses, and shops for white people only, and separate, poorer ones for black people. It made him wonder, why? The world of apartheid. The pastors didn't have all the answers. When Nelson grew up, he found out why. South Africa had a system called apartheid. It meant people were separated by their skin color. White people had the best land, jobs, and schools. Who were the majority had almost no rights. For example, black people had to carry a pass to show police officers. If they didn't have a pass or were caught in a white area, they could be put in jail. But why? The answer was, because we are white and you are black. Nelson thought this was wrong. He didn't like unfairness. When someone was being treated badly, he wanted to help. But how could he? To graduating from university, Nelson went home. He got married and became a lawyer. He helped people who were treated badly. He spoke out against apartheid too. Nelson fought for equality. He wanted everyone to be free and equal. This made him popular. People listened to him and followed him. Nelson became a leader of a group called the ANC, a group fighting for freedom. First, people protested peacefully. They marched, gave speeches, and wrote petitions to the government. But the government didn't care. It didn't want to make things better. One day, thousands of people marched to a government building in Pretoria. They wanted to give their petition to the government, but police stopped them. They beat people with sticks and dogs bit them. This was the Sharpeville Massacre. Police killed 69 protesters. Nelson cried when he saw people lying on the ground. He knew peaceful methods weren't enough. He needed to take action. In 1962, Nelson left South Africa. He met leaders from other countries. He wanted to tell them about apartheid and ask for help, but the government didn't like this. When Nelson returned home, police arrested him. They charged him with crimes. They said he had broken the law and made people go against the government. Nelson knew he might go to jail. He told his wife, "If the trial goes against me, as it undoubtedly will, I've already decided that I'm not going to defend myself. I am quite prepared to die." After 8 months, the jury found him guilty. The judge said Nelson was guilty of sabotage and plotting to overthrow the government. The judge said, "You have been found guilty of a very serious charge. You have shown no remorse. You are a rebel." Then the judge sentenced him to life in prison. The rebel for justice. Nelson was taken to a small island called Robben Island. It used to be a prison for people who broke the law. Now, Nelson was a political prisoner. He didn't commit crimes. He just wanted freedom and equality. He slept on a thin mat and worked in a limestone quarry. But he didn't give up. He secretly taught other prisoners. He even studied for a law degree while working. Nelson became famous all over the world. People protested outside the prison and asked, "Free Nelson Mandela." But the government didn't listen. They kept him inside for 27 years. Sometimes Nelson talked with his family through a special glass window. Once he said, "As I walked past a group of men in the corridor, they greeted me by banging the bars with their spoons. The spoons had been sharpened to hooks. Each man had made a hook. I understood without being told what they meant. I was touched by the ingenuity, the wit, and the determination to survive and resist." Hope for freedom. Finally, in 1990, after 27 long years, Nelson was set free. People all over the world cheered. Nelson walked out of prison, hand in hand with his wife. He was weak and frail, but his smile was bright. Nelson promised to keep fighting for freedom. In 1994, South Africa held its first election. Everyone could vote, black and white. Nelson Mandela became the country's first black president. People hoped he would punish white people for the bad things they had done. But Mandela didn't do this. He said, "We will not revenge ourselves on those who have wronged us. Forgiveness is not for the person who has been wronged. It is for the person doing the wrong." He invited his old prison guards to his inauguration, too. He wanted to start a new era of peace and friendship. Mandela worked to unite the country and build a better future. One day, a reporter asked Mandela, "Why do you forgive the people who put you in prison?" Mandela replied, "As I said before, we must all learn to live together as brothers and sisters. We have a choice. Either we continue to live in the past, which will lead to our destruction, or we go ahead and build a new South Africa. The end. Mandela passed away in 2013. He was 95 years old. He lived an amazing life. He showed the world how to fight for what is right. He changed the history of the world. Now it's time to check your understanding. Write the answers to these questions in the comments below. No. 1. What is the meaning of the word apartheid? Number 2. How many years was Nelson Mandela in prison? No. 3. What message does Nelson Mandela want to give to the people of South Africa and the whole world? And now, let's check the answers together. No. 1. The word apartheid means separation. No. 2. Nelson Mandela was in prison for 27 years. No. 3. Nelson Mandela wants to give a message of hope, freedom, and equality. Thank you for watching today's video. Please share it with your friends and family. Don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss any of our videos. See you next time. Bye.